Oh, it already was on. Okay. Okay, well, welcome everyone to the FunnyF100. Yes, okay, let's start over again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Nascar GT, next gen competition, NASCAR GT in race 3 of the round of 6 of season 6. We're here at the Blue Moon Speedway for the FunnyF100. I'm today once again joined by Jackson Turner. Hello, Jackson.
Hello, good to be back for the final race before the final four. It's the big one.
Yep. We're here once again at the Blue Moon Bay Speedway, as we've been twice before this season. And those races were won by Seb Mills and Aston Lewis. Right?
Indeed they were.
My spectating has glitched. Ow. There we go. I could see a wall and that was it. So, we're here for the third time this season. It's the final race of the... What's Aston doing? What? Is he also
having fun
running along? Oh, I thought he had connectivity issues. Oh well. We're here for the third time this season, and it's gonna be the last race before the finale next week in Monza. So we have two drives already locked in. Aston Lewis and Tyler Davison locked into the final four next week in Monza. Adam Richardson is 21 points clear of the cut-off. Seb Mills is 14 points clear of the cut-off. And Scott Sandaver is 14 points behind the cut-off. And Matt Pulio is racing, so he's automatically eliminated from the playoffs. So it will be Aston Lewis on pole as we now go towards the final corner for a 7-car race around this very fast and technical oval. As we're waiting now for drivers to make their way through the final corner. I believe it's from the final corner towards the finish line is the starting zone. So we and Aston Lewis is already gone as Jackson Turner dives to green. This time it's the green flag for the FunnyF100, and Aston Lewis has gone very early, but it has worked for him so far. As Seb Mills has taken over in P2 as he had the slipstream of Aston Lewis. As they now go towards Stone 1, Aston Lewis keeps the lead. It's Seb Mills on the inside of Adam Richardson. Will he be able to take the second position away? No, they won't. Now they'll foul towards the inside of the track behind Aston Lewis. He will probably get bumped by his teammate, or will his teammate be racing for himself today? It looks like he is. It's Scott Sandaver breaking out of the tow. That's a risky thing to do as we now go towards the final corner. Probably one of the best overtaking opportunities. We go 3 wide through the final corner, and there's been a bit of trouble at the back as there's already a gap to 6th and 7th.
As far as I've seen, nothing's really happened. They were just a bit slow away by the looks of things. An interesting first lap here. This oval, it looks simple, just 3 corners, one of which flat, the other 2 quite high speed, but it is far from simple. You've got to stay in the slipstream, and to stay in that slipstream you've got to carry a lot of momentum through the corners. Turn 1 and turn 3, both corners you want to try and take a higher line, carry the momentum through the corner before diving down to the inside down the straight to take the shortest route through turn 2. But it's so tricky, especially turn 1 with that very steep banking. It makes it near impossible to get it right, especially lap after lap after lap. Something will go wrong. As we see racing up at the front and throughout the mid-pack here, as Seb Mills let's try to take lead from Aston Lewis. Seb Mills using that high line in turn 3. That is the preferred line. You can carry more momentum around there. But equally, the car on the inside, they've got more options, they've got more space available to them. The car on the outside, they've got themselves and the wall next to them, no more room, that is it. Anything goes wrong, they're in the wall and probably going to lose time. Whereas inside, you can have a little bit of oversteer, you can have a bit of understeer, you can survive any small issue, plus you can also play around a bit more, you can go a bit deeper into the corner, try and slide up ahead of them, do what's called a slide job, slide your car in front of the driver on the outside. Even if they carry more momentum around the outside, if you can get your car down the inside and get it ahead of them before the corner exit, they'll have no choice but to bump into the back of you, in which case they're either going to have to lift to try and avoid any sort of contact and make sure everyone stays safe, or they hit you, potentially risking an accident. Either way, you've got a good chance holding on to that position. So the inside is the line with the options, outside is the line with the speed. We'll see how that plays out across this race, especially as we get later into each of these stages where the battle on those final laps will be crucial. As we see it, Aston Lewis continuing to lead here in the FunnyF100 ahead of Seb Mills and Adam Richardson as a big gap has dropped back to Kieran Kevern. Scott Sandover, Jonathan Mills and Niall Kerrin has dropped way off the field.
Kieran just getting past Scott Sandover as John O'Mills and now Gran have both dropped back from the back of the pack. Although we have three kind of packs, Seb Mills very high towards the wall, exit of the final corner. It's still Aston Lewis who leads though, as we already go towards the halfway mark of the first stage. Aston Lewis now defends the inside line from Seb Mills. Is that the right thing to do? It isn't. Seb Mills goes around the outside to take the lead. Aston Lewis very high into the wall, and Adam Richardson is now putting him under pressure. Looks like Adam Richardson will be getting the toe. No, Seb Mills chooses Aston Lewis for the toe, but it doesn't work as Adam Richardson is already ahead of his teammate. As we have once again seen the Phoenix Motorsport. No, we haven't actually. Well, they started it, but it was already gone before the line. As Aston Lewis now on the inside then.
Oh, as he puts him in the wall, teammates collide, puts his teammate in the wall. Something I was about to point out was that Seb Mills and Aston Lewis are working together. They are planning out what they're doing. They're not sort of wasting time. Aston let Seb through that previous lap around, and it just didn't work out because he ended up letting Adam Richardson through as well. As now we see actually Kieran Kevin's attacking Richardson as well as they head down the back straight. That 7 car of Richardson was in the fight for the lead there, but well, he just got absolutely sent into the barriers by Aston Lewis, and as a result has now found himself in the second group of cars, which now with 3 cars in this group might just have a chance to try and reel in the leaders, but it's not going to be easy.
Scott Sandover is now on turn to put pressure on Adam Richardson. Once again, very high in the track. Kieran Kevin opts for the lower line to have a bit more exit speed, looks like it. Well, it doesn't really work for him as the slingshot is on the high line. As Scott Sandover is really close now. Will he give him a bump or will he dive down the inside? No, we'll give him a bump. They're trying to work together to get back towards the top 2, who are still trying to work their way away from the cars behind. They're out of slipstream, so it shouldn't be too hard if they work together very well to break away from the back completely and take this easy 1-2.
Yeah, we've seen in recent races here at the Blue Moon Bay Speedway, there's been a change to the aerodynamic package here, which has led to lower drag cars on this circuit, and briefly BB Raceway was the same before switching back again to the higher drag cars. The lower drag cars mean that slipstream is much more important, because you have to stay close to get that slipstream. The slipstream is much shorter, which means you make a small mistake, you'll lose the slipstream, and on a track with as many straights as this has, it's crucial to your lap time is having that slipstream. So that's why you see now Adam Richardson, after losing the top 2, has really dropped back significantly, and only being helped along by Scott Sandover bump drafting him from behind. And the reason why we decided to change the aerodynamic package was that Blue Moon was becoming a bit more of a raffle than it was a real skilled track, and now I feel with the current aerodynamic package, with the lower drag leading to less slipstream, whilst it still allows for close racing and exciting racing, it also means that just raw speed through the corners matters. Before it was basically 90% useless. It didn't make a difference how quick you could go, because the slipstream would make all the time difference down the straights. Whereas now, because the slipstream's so short, you have to be good in the corners, otherwise the cars ahead of you will pull such an advantage, you'll drop out of slipstream. And that's what we've seen here. That's why the field's breaking up, is because the drivers at the front are doing amazing pace, whilst the drivers at the back are perhaps struggling a bit more. You can see which drivers have perhaps put a bit more practice in, or maybe it could just be straight down to experience. Seb Mills, Aston Lewis, as you said earlier in the broadcast, they're the 2 winners here at Blue Moon this season. Admittedly, Aston's came on the higher drag package, but Seb's came on the low drag package, and Aston Lewis is a 2-time Blue Moon 200 winner, the most prestigious race in NASCAR GT. He knows how to drive around this track. Seb, as I said, has won here most recently to end the regular season, to get himself into the very playoffs that he now looks to make his way into the Final Four for. He is another star on this track, and Adam Richardson's no slouch. He is also very good around this track, but as he clips the wall there, unproven, I think it's fair to say, with the lower drag package on these cars. Same goes to the likes of Scott Sandover, as Sandover now goes to the inside of Richardson. Looks like those two have given up on the fight for the lead here. They're going to battle it out for that 3rd position in this stage.
Obviously both fighting for a place in the Final Four. It wouldn't be amazing for either of them if they lost a lot of time. Obviously can't lose too many points as Adam Richardson gets reset due to the Fanatec issues, I believe, once again that is. And that means that then now Kieran Kevin is up into 4th, and that will cost Adam Richardson, 1, the slipstream, 2, some points. as he's now on 1 point instead of 3 points. So that could help Scott Sandover, but not too much. Here comes Kieran Cavan on the inside of Scott Sandover. Both drivers trying to work together maybe. They did earlier in the race, but now they're all fighting for it as we now go towards the final corner.
Aston Lewis is going for the move here for the win in stage 1. These two have worked together beautifully so far, but now they're battling out for victory here. A crucial few points in this championship. Aston Lewis already locked in. Seb Mills are almost locked in as they make contact on the way to the line. But Seb Mills, he'll hold on, and Seb Mills will win stage 1 here, ahead of Aston Lewis, and it's Kieran Cavan will take third, just ahead of Scott Sandover by the smallest of margins, and that is Adam Richardson, who completes the top 5 points finishers.
Seb Mills with a very late block on Aston Lewis, which got Aston Lewis a bit off guard, giving Seb Mills a bump, which leads him to win the first stage by 0.179 of a second. Kieran Cavan just beating out Scott Sandover, who won't be too happy about that, leaving some points on the table. But I think that almost means that Adam Richardson will be in on points? No, not yet.
Not quite. He is almost very close to being in on points. He's on 20 points now, above the cut line. Seb is 17, so both drivers could be locked in unless there is a winner, a new winner in the Formula 1, or a new winner, but unless Scott wins the race. It's very much looking like at the moment, put it simply, unless something absolutely crazy happens, we're going to go into the final laps of this race saying Scott Sandover has to win. Otherwise, it'll be Adam Richardson and Seb Mills joining the two drivers already locked in, which of course is Aston Lewis and Tyler Davison. In the event Scott does win, there's only a 3-point gap between Richardson and Mills at the moment. Mills, of course, was better in that first stage, but a long way to go in this one still. It'll be between those two to decide the 4th and final spot on points. But that's only a battle if Scott Sandover wins here today. And he's been close in the past, in Season 2 most noticeably. Barely finished second here at Blue Moon Speedway in this very event in that season, missing out on the Final Four because of that. And in the end he won the finale that season, but because he wasn't in the Final Four, he couldn't win the championship. And, well, it just shows how important a win around here is, and Scott, more than anyone else, will know that.
Huh. Is it just on this track? I just realized that when spectating someone in the pit lane, normally you go into their cockpit cam, but now you actually look at the car from the outside.
Be a cool thing that if they've done it deliberately, but based on some of the other things that's been in this game, it's probably not deliberate.
No, probably just an issue on this track. Oh well. So obviously it will be Scott Sandover's first win of the season, and it will be FunnyF100's first win in NASCAR GT, which would be very nice in their own event. But if Scott Sandover wins, that obviously has to happen something crazy. I count so far either Aston Lewis or Seb Mills for a win, as they've been very consistent, didn't make any mistakes. Yeah, apart from Aston Lewis giving away one place too many at one point during the stage. But so far it's looking good for either one of the young Brits. However, I believe that Scott wouldn't mind a win. Same with Adam Richardson.
I've just realised that for some reason qualifying's on, so that we'll have to ignore that. I'll have to ask them to exit, I think.
Good job.
I don't know why that's a thing.
I have no clue. But I believe you can cancel it from your crown menu kind of thing.
I don't have a crown menu.
Oh. That's great. I had this on with MRO PST and I couldn't cancel qualifying, so I had to restart the whole lobby.
See, I'm not going to do that.
Oh well, let's go for qualifying then. Okay, here we go now. Seb Mills going on towards his hot lap. Or is he already? No, he's on his out lap still.
So yeah, this qualifying means nothing, so we don't have to watch it. Just extra practice, we'll call it, an extra practice session.
Let's call it extra practice, yes.
So yeah, we are getting ready for stage 2 in 4 minutes and 8 seconds time, a weirdly specific time this week.
There he goes.
But yeah, I mean, who do you see being the driver that comes out on top here in stage 2, and of course in the race overall? Do you think Scott can get the win that he needs? Or do you think it's more likely to be one of the drivers like Seb or Aston who are the strongest cars in Stage 1?
Well, obviously it's all to play for. It's the Blue Moon Bay Speedway, and we've seen some surprise winners in the past here, while we weren't expecting it after the first couple of stages. Obviously, Aston Lewis this season with Adam Richardson worked his way towards the Blue Moon 200 victory, and Seb Mills with both Fast Formula teammates making it a Fast Formula 1-2-3 at the end of the regular season. So it could be very tactical, but it could also be very lucky. So it could go either way. So I could see Scott winning after, I don't know, he's running third and the two leaders crash out on the final corner. But it could also just be that Seb Mills and Aston Lewis bump each other towards a victory for one of the both. So it could go either way, but so far I'm putting my money on either Seb Mills or Aston Lewis if they continue working like this.
I'd have to agree with you there. I don't know if anyone has... I think the only person that maybe has the raw pace to play spoiler would be Adam Richardson, but it's so hard to sort of, when you're 1 versus 2, which is what it was in that first stage, it's so hard to win. As John O'Mills, he had that back in, I think it was season 2, he experienced that around this track, same aerodynamic package, and it was two Chevrolets versus 1 Ford, because back then we had the manufacturer championship, and as the lone Ford, Jono just could not win the race. He could get second, but he couldn't win it. And that's the difference you have in a 2v1. In this case, Seb Mills clearly doing a deal with Aston Lewis to get himself some help. And it's clearly working so far, but of course, a long way to go. Anything could change between now and then.
Obviously, we're now just going with the spec Chevrolet. I think that's a better decision that NASCAR GT has made in its existence. As now we have the best driver or the luckiest driver wins the race. So yeah, we're waiting now, just under 2 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. How long do you have the end timer actually?
1 minute and oh, actually I don't know. I suppose we'll wait and see. It shouldn't be too long, hopefully. I didn't set it. That's the problem. I didn't set any of these, so.
At least that's the... Oh no, qualifying is 122 minutes.
Do you mean 120 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay, not 120 minutes.
No, 120, so 2 minutes, I said.
Oh, I thought you said 120 minutes.
No.
I missed the 2.
No.
You should have had a bigger pause, I think. I think that's on you, not me.
120.
2 minutes.
So 2 minutes.
Some information going into this race. Aston Lewis has the most wins of any driver so far this season. He sits on 5. Tyler Davison, the next highest, with 4 for Bean Motorsports. Then it is, I believe, Adam Richardson, who has 2 wins, which is equal to Seb, who also has 2 wins, if my maths is all correct there. So yeah, and then you get the 2-0 quality racing drivers who both have 1 win each. So it's very much still looks like this season is between the 2 big heavyweights of Aston Lewis and Tyler Davison. But Seb and Adam, they appear to be the 2 other drivers in the fight. And that would make sense of those. I think for the first time in NASCAR GT history, we would have a Final 4 that genuinely reflects the championship's true best 4 drivers across the season as a whole. Which I don't know, I'd have to look through the records to see if that's happened before. Season 1, the driver that was second in regular season points missed the Final 4. Season 2, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but as I said earlier, Scott, if he'd won that finale, he would have won the championship most likely. So, the previous race, I mean, not the finale, but if he'd won this event in season 2, he'd have been champion. I don't know what his point situation was, it was quite a while ago. But that sort of, you could argue maybe he should have been in that Final 4. Season 3, there was a lot that happened in Season 3, quite the crazy season. If I remember correctly, I think Jonathan Mills, he made the Final 4, and no disrespect to him, he hasn't made the playoffs this season, so you'd suggest that perhaps he... Although I do remember exactly what happened, I believe that was the season where he pulled off some dealings to get himself all the way to the Final 4, some behind-the-scenes stuff going on there for him. And then let's have a look. Season 4 was a strange season. That was where, I'd say, no offence to them, but Evan Dalton, they were probably the surprise of the Final 4. They only had 1 win across the season, and that was the season opener. After, I think, crossing the line P6, after post-race penalties, they inherited the win, and just were insanely consistent throughout the year, got themselves into the Final 4. and then that they were sort of surprised. That season 5, another strange season where I think we had a couple drivers in the final 4 that were a bit of a surprise. Kieran Kevin, I believe, was there, and I think so was Ben Driscoll.
Yeah, last season.
Yeah, and both of those drivers aren't in the playoffs this season, so it shows how mixed up it's been this season. If we do get the top 4 drivers across the season being in the final 4, as much as that, so you think, well, that's obviously going to happen, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't think it's ever happened before, so, you know, it would be an interesting achievement, I suppose, if that did happen. So I suppose that's a cool thing to look at. If the boring outcome happens and we don't get a Scott win, in that case we know who the final 4 is pretty much easily. The only sort of the nice side of that is that it's a final 4 that makes sense. It's the top 4 drivers on wins this season would be the final 4, and I mean that sounds fair to me. I don't know about you, but that sounds about right.
Well, obviously, if the best 4 drivers get into the final 4, they deserve it. Obviously. You have to. That you can only cancel the race, I believe. Yeah, you have to start the race now. Well, but obviously, well, I said if the best 4 get into the final 4, that you should say it's obvious, but it really isn't showing from past seasons. And also this season, the gaps have been quite big towards the cutoff line due to attendance issues for some people. Because in previous season it was really close. Most of the time, I believe that was back in season 4 or 5, it was between the 2 and 5 points of the cutoff that people would made it into the next round of the playoffs. So yeah, this season would maybe be a bit of a first, to be honest, if it goes for best 4 place themselves for the final 4.
Yeah, it seems weird saying that, as I said, but you know that's how it is. And I mean, I suppose it would be a good thing, really, that we get to see the top 4 drivers of the season battling for the championship that they really all have had great seasons of, as they're crashing under caution here. I don't really know what's happened there. But yeah, fascinating season, and a fascinating season, penultimate round to the season, I should say. Is Aston Lewis going to retake his spot? It looks like he is. That all looks like it's gone down well, so Aston Lewis back onto the front row as Kieran Kevin is... I don't know what Kieran Kevin's doing, to be honest.
Kieran Kevin is doing what Kieran Kevin is doing. Let him do his thing. Let him cook. What are these guys doing in front doing?
The race ban clearly wasn't enough for him. He wants more.
Well, that wasn't necessarily for on-track actions, but...
No, it wasn't, but, you know.
Someone has a severe case of typing in info chat.
Speaking of typing in chats... Green this time.
There we go. Man, what are they? Aston Lewis has spun round with Seb Mills. Oh my god, we're going green.
We're going green.
Kieran Kevin will... What are we doing here? Seb Mills retakes his position and we will have a caution. What are they doing at the beginning here of stage 2? Will Aston Lewis
getting themselves lots
retake
of penalty points for the looks of things.
Oh, there will definitely be some penalty points, even though I can't decide it over there anymore, but we're not going to talk about that
What is Kieran Kevin doing?
I have no clue. Should we just send him to the back of the grid? Would be funny.
I'm not going to do that mid-race, because for all we know he's doing the right thing. It just certainly doesn't look like it from where I am. Well, I guess we're green this time again then. Yay.
Okay, so this will be very interesting afterward the race. And what is Kieran Kevin doing? Honestly,
I do not know.
They're going 150 on the caution. Okay, oh well. We will be starting stage 2 then a lap. How do we call this then? Under time, because we decreased the length of the stage.
Oh, well, it's still the same length, it's just more laps under caution, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess. Oh well, here we go then. Seb Mills on the inside. Kieran Kevin has forced his way into second place as Aston Lewis does the correct thing and lines up at the back of the grid, even though maybe it wasn't completely fair. Well, we go then. They're separated by a lane. That's nice to see as well. We should just say that they should keep that lane the entire lap. Maybe that's a thing on this speedway, but here we go. Now Seb Mills accelerates. We're going towards the green flag here for the FunnyF100, and Scott Sanders is already on the inside of Kieran Kevin. They'll begin where they left off. at the end of stage 1. Seb Mills then leads the way through turn 1 as we have someone sliding. I think that's Adam Richardson. It is Adam Richardson, and this will be amazing for Seb Mills if it stays like this, because Adam Richardson won't score any points and Seb Mills will go away and overtake him if it stays like this. But it's just lap 3 into a stage in a 16 lap stage where Kieran Kevin has made his way back up into second place in front of Scott Senday. Will he go for an attack on Seb Mills? Doesn't look like it. He for now stays behind, but we've got a different top 3 than we had before at the end of last caution, and then we already have a little gap between Scott Senday and John O'Mills, so that won't be very good for Aston Lewis as he is in that pack. And Richardson, however, is not in slipstream of anyone, so he will be losing a lot of time if there won't be another caution this race.
Yeah, it looks like the top 3 here are already starting to spread out a little bit. And this is now a testing point for Seb. He no longer has a helper in the form of Aston Lewis. Can he pull away on his own? Kieran Kevin already nearly out of slipstream. It's possible if Seb nails turn 3 here, he could well pull out a slipstream, which it would be quite the achievement when he's on his own. And the gap now almost over 6 tenths. He doesn't quite do it. Kieran Kevin with a really good turn 3 there. He will cut that gap back down, and the lead will again disappear for Seb here. As we look further down the field, Aston Lewis and Jonathan Mills side by side towards turn 1. If these two work together, they could very quickly catch the leaders, because now that Seb's on there on his own, Jonathan Mills and Aston Lewis should be able to comfortably outpace them.
As well on the inside.
Looking to try and make a move here as Aston Lewis now is being sort of driven all over the racetrack as he slides up into the wall next to turn 1. Now Jonathan Mills trying to move around the outside, and Aston Lewis will hold on to that 4th position. As up at the front, the top 3 are closing in on each other once again, but they don't seem to quite have the same pace that Aston Lewis and Seb Mills had in that first stage.
Doesn't look like it. However, Kieran Kevin is trying all he can. He's trying to do a Chastain and ride the wall towards the finish line. Doesn't work out for him just yet. Will he work together with Seb Mills, or will he go for a dive bomb in towards turn 1? Looks like he will be working together with him. Yeah, no late dive bomb from him, but like you just said, if John O'Mills and Aston Lewis could try and work together, as Aston Lewis is not taking the best of lines, but they are working together now. They could really close the gap towards the lead. Although it's 1.5 seconds. Scott Senday in the top 3 looks to go in towards the playoffs, but he needs a win in stage 3 to do it, basically. But Kieran Kevin is not making it easy so far, as they're now bumping 3 cars, and that's always risky. As if one car does one thing wrong, then you have a crash, and with 2 it's just when one bumps and the other does something wrong, you can kind of avoid a crash. However, Scott Senday drops back, and Kieran Kevin continues on to push Seb Mills towards that final 4th position. Even though he's already in, he wants to be locked in, and if it continues on like this, no, he won't be locked in, I believe, as Scott is still in 3rd.
It'd be a 2-point swing, so you're right, he would be locked in actually.
Oh,
he's
of
17
course, yeah.
points ahead, yeah.
Yeah, you can only
so
get
it would have to be
50
flipped
points,
for it to be not locked in.
Obviously, I was still thinking about the 25, but we only have 20 points remaining now.
And then 15 after this stage.
Yep. So Aston Lewis is still 1.5 away from Scott Senday. Scott Senday a bit on his own now, so now is their chance to try and close that gap. It doesn't look like it's going very well, as Adam Richardson only lost 6 tenths so far, so he's not doing too bad. As Seb Mills continues on, he really takes the low line in toward turn 1. Works for him. Kieran Kevin chooses for the high line. Scott Senday is almost out of slipstream from Kieran Kevin, so that's the chance for the pack behind. They already gained 3 tenths on him, so Scott Senday probably not with the best of turn 1s. But now Karen also just waiting behind for something to happen, I think. Not much that is going on right now, except from Seb Mills and Kieran Kevin, who are just now less than a tenth apart. And there they are, less than a tenth apart again. Kieran Kevin not really making a move so far. He doesn't really want to win this stage. He obviously won his part of the battles at Blue Moon. What was that? That's almost 15 weeks ago. That is 15 weeks ago actually. That's a long time ago. But he won that race and started from 2nd place, I believe, in the Blue Moon 200, and I don't know where he went then. However, he's now pushing on Seb Mills towards lap 10 already of this stage.
Indeed he is. It looks like Kieran Kevin just does not feel like overtaking at the moment. He's going to try and just stick with the rear bumper of Seb. Meanwhile, Scott Sandervoort lost the slipstream and is dropping back quickly. And I imagine Aston Lewis will be with him in a lap or so's time. Aston Lewis nearly within the slipstream of Scott Sandervoort already, and I think within a lap he'll be on the back of him. The question then is, will Aston Lewis and Jonathan Mills and Niall Caron, who's just about hanging on to that pair at the moment, will they all drive past Scott, or will they try and push Scott up to them? That's sort of the debate that Aston will have to have. I imagine Aston will want to try and lead the group back up to the leaders, because this pack, as it gets a bit bigger, it'll get a better chance at recatching Kevin and Mills up front. As, Aston Lewis, he's going to want to try and do all he can to get up into that battle for the lead again. But it's not going to be easy. Scott Sandervoort, if he gets the memo, if he lets Aston Lewis by and bumps him along, they could definitely reel the leaders in. But I think if Scott Sandervoort fights over this third position, then Aston Lewis is going to have a hard time getting back up into the lead fight.
Scott Sandervoort defending the toe. He's trying to break it, but John Mills also not far from that 7.5 gap towards Aston Lewis. So if Scott Sandervoort and Aston Lewis can work together, they could break away from John Mills, which they've now done 9/10 towards John Mills. But Aston Lewis once again with the tap on the wall, so John Mills is now back into slipstream, and Aston Lewis is falling out of it again. There he goes, out of slipstream now. That was a little mistake from Aston Lewis. He's done that multiple times this stage, as Kevin and Mills are still pushing each other on. And update on Adam Richardson, he's still in 7th, 3.4 seconds behind, and we still haven't had a caution. That's gonna be a curse, definitely.
And as you said that, Niall Caron has crashed on the front straightaway, contact with Jonathan Mills. He is around and has somehow managed to not lose too much time, although he will lose the position. Jonathan Mills has kept his car going, did not lose too much time there, so you had to curse it, you really had to.
I had to. That was my bad.
Aston Lewis in the wall exit of turn 1, and Aston Lewis has just deliberately spun. That's good to see there. Aston Lewis really sportsmanlike as the caution will come out.
Adam Richardson, the two teammates going into each other, and now Karen just about avoiding it, and I didn't see it on stream, but that could be deliberately caused
I'll clip it now to make sure I've got it, because that was the blatant deliberate spin I've ever seen in my life.
Maybe he even used the handbrake, who knows. Kieran Kevin then, no, he's in 2nd. Seb Mills leads, as he's on. What is John Mills now doing? Come on, guys. I don't know what they're doing. Oh well. It will be green this time, I think, at the end of lap 13, so then we'll have a 3-lap shootout. 14, 15 and 16. Yep, that's 3 laps. That will immediately be the end of cautions. And John Mills is into the wall, tapped by Noel Caron, I believe that was. I'm not sure about it, but so far Seb Mills looks to be overtaking Adam Richardson. Yes, he will, with the current playoff positions, but obviously with this caution really helps out Adam Richardson. As, yeah, he was 3.8 seconds behind, and he's now right there again. Don't forget to say green this time, actually, Jackson.
I won't forget, don't worry.
Okay, good.
When would I ever do that?
Many times. There we go. Seb Mills now going towards the final corner then at 140, about 138. It's good enough. Towards the final corner. Yep, turn 3 out of 3. Yeah, that's weird. No, with 3 corners. Well, it's actually a tri-oval then. Oh well. Discussion for another time. Seb Mills then out of the final corner. Will we go early or will we go late? We saw early most of the time, and that worked out. There we go. Seb Mills is on the way, and we're going back to green flag racing for the FunnyF100. Can Scott Sandervoort follow Seb Mills through? No, he can't. Scott Sandervoort loose, but he almost lost it, and he's on the inside. Will he go for the lead on Seb Mills? No, Kieran Kevin on the outside overtakes or re-overtakes Scott Sandervoort, and so far the top 3 have stayed the same position. Now Karen after there was Adam Richardson, I believe, or no, it was Scott Sandervoort with Fanatec glitch, so that's not really helping him, and that will be a must win for Scott Sandervoort. That Seb Mills and Kieran Kevin now fighting over the stage win. Will Kieran Kevin go for it? No, he will probably wait for the final lap of this stage. Now Kevin into the wall, into John Mills. It all goes well so far, as they are still on track, obviously, as what's his name? Aston Lewis. I completely forgot his name. Aston Lewis is trying to get past Jonathan Mills, as the top two have already broken away from the pack again. It's 1.4 seconds towards Nascar. Not the best of races, as he's having some throttle issues, I believe. And there's a bit of contact now. And oh, Nascar, what are you doing? Oh, that somehow John Mills saves it. He doesn't. He doesn't. Aston Lewis also in the wall. Now Karen turning in on who was it? Turning in on John Mills, as Seb and as Mills and Kevin still going on towards the white flag of this stage. Adam Richardson up to third. That's amazing for him. Then they would get level, I think. Mills and Richardson. So that would be nice for them, but Scott Sandover back into the points, 4th place, as we now go towards the final part of this stage.
Indeed we are. It's Seb Mills still out front here. He's been in control the whole way through. It feels like he's got a 4/10 gap over Kieran Kevin in 2nd place. Kieran Kevin looks like he might be a little bit too far back here to build a run to try and take the stage run away. Will Seb Mills take another stage win here at Blue Moon in the FunnyF100? 100. Kieran Kevin washes up a little bit wide. He's not going to get a big enough run. He's going to get a run though.
Oh,
I don't think it'll be enough. Seb Mills will win stage 2 ahead of Kieran Kevin. Adam Richardson, Scott Sandover and Niall Karen will round out the points here in stage 2. In a stage that, well, was certainly incident packed.
Yeah, it was all going very well until I cursed it. Oops.
Yeah.
But it
blame
was,
Ricky.
Yes, blame me. Blame me for everything. Well, they used to do that. Well, Seb Mills wins here the 2nd stage of the FunnyF100 with Kieran Kevin slotting in P2 after working together with Seb Mills the whole way through. So that was a masterclass from both the MKR car and oh my god, what team is he again? Fast Formula Racing car. I'm very forgetful today. Oh, well, what now? It is a must win for Scott Sandover, otherwise he's eliminated from the playoffs, and then we will go with the final 4 as they stand. So it won't be a final 4 without a win this season. I don't know if we had it before. Did we have it before?
Sorry, what's that?
Have we had a final 4 competitor without a win in the whole season?
Jono, season 3, yes.
Well,
that's the nice thing about Jono, is the exception of season 1, any statistic for him is based on lack of wins. That is why we have Jono.
Oof.
He is our, he shouldn't be too bothered by that. Sorry Jono if you are. You know I mean it with love. We're just waiting for that, the time when you eventually get that next win, and give us all a new statistic to post about.
Kevin, more penalty points collected.
Oh, wonderful. Get a screenshot if you can, please.
Oh yeah, I will.
Thank you.
Have you... No, you have qualifying on again, mister.
I thought I turned it off.
Well, at least it says 16 laps, so I don't know. Maybe not.
I probably didn't. We'll wait and see. And good news is the lobby's died as well, so wonderful. Running a league, you know, it's fun. It really is.
It's fun if you know what to do.
I'm gonna go make the new lobby. You can do you.
I hope my game doesn't crash.
I'm sure it will.
You cursed it. Just kidding, you didn't.
I did change it. Why didn't it change? I don't know.
Because it's annoying. That's why. Oh well.
Okay, I made a new lobby.
I'm still in the black screen. And I'm still in the black screen and don't have any loading symbols. So I'm gonna restart my game. We'll be right back with some more NGT action.